Hey friends, Worm here. Sorry for the lack of a post on Saturday. I just got a little bit busy, and sorry for the backdrop here. It's a little bit messy. You can see my closets, including my hedgehog's little pouch hanging back there. Right, where's it? Right, that thing right there. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about a feature that I think really would be fun to bring back to Destiny 2, albeit a little bit more expensive than it used to be, because this was actually in Destiny 2 at one point. Now, the feature that we're talking about here specifically is the ability to re-roll masterworks. Yes, for those of y'all who are relatively new or haven't played Destiny since basically the launch of D2, way back in the day, I want to say it was even it might have even been pre-Forsaken, and then in Forsaken they changed it. At any rate, back in the day, they actually allowed players to change the masterworks on weapons, right? So if you got a reload masterwork on a really good PvP weapon, you could actually change that masterwork using some enhancement cores, among other things like that, to change it and make it a range masterwork or a stability masterwork. Now, of course, it wasn't just, oh wow, you got to pick it and blah, 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 blah. Basically, you had a random chance to get any of the other masterworks that were not already applied to it. So if you had a reload masterwork, you could have a chance to get a range or a stability or handling, any of those. But let's say you had reload masterwork, you changed it, got handling, but you want range, so you changed it again, you had the chance to get reload as the masterwork again. So there was some amount of randomness to it, I guess. But yeah, it was a really neat feature, and I would personally like to see it come back on specific weapons. Now, the thing is, I think with the double-edged sword of this is, of course, you don't want to totally negate the RNG grind. You know, we saw what happened with Destiny 2 when it first launched, and there was no RNG whatsoever. And having a master role as, you know, part of the god role, so to speak, is a very important aspect to have in the game. And there is, I mean, you could argue that there's a way to change your masterwork through crafted weapons, because of course crafted weapons, you can change masterworks on them. You know, you can put a reload or handling or, you know, whatever masterwork basically you want on those crafted weapons. But the weapons I'm specifically thinking of here are random drops, and especially world drops. Okay, I don't know when the last time I even got a Sanuna was. And Sanuna, for those of you who don't know, is a stasis 3-round burst sidearm. Sorry, I almost said pulse rifle. 3-round burst sidearm that was brought into the game, I believe it was last season. I rarely see it drop, and it's kind of frustrating. So whenever it drops, it would be nice to say, okay, well, hey, it's got 2 really good perks on it. It's got a good magazine perk. Oh, but then it, you know, it has a handling masterwork, and I'm looking to max this thing's range out. Or, you know, oh, it has a stability, but, you know, for PvE, I'd rather have a reload speed masterwork or something like that. And I think it would be a great idea for Bungie to allow players to change the masterwork in some way. Now, of course, like we talked about a second ago, the grind to get these god roll weapons, you know, we don't want that going away. Players like the grind. You know, I know people like to talk mess on the grind, like, oh, I hate grinding, blah, blah, blah. But let's be honest, without the grind, Destiny is not Destiny anymore. So I think there still should be a grind to it. But what would that grind entail? Like, how would you be able to masterwork or to change the masterwork on a weapon? So I have a couple of ideas that I'd like to throw out there and get you guys' opinions on. The first one is, of course, just a straight up randomly re-rolled masterwork. You know, if you have reload speed, you can get any of the other 3 or 4 masterworks that are available on that weapon as a potential when you re-roll it. And this would be done through enhancement cores, maybe even some enhancement prisms or shards, or ascendant shards, sorry, because I think that it should be costly to do this. I mean, like I said, if you can do it for free 25 million times, what's the point of having RNG, right? So I think that having some type of associated cost that is rather high with randomly selecting a new masterwork is one route that Bungie could go. Of course, the pros to this route would be you get to reroll the masterwork, obviously. You have to spend a lot, so you don't just get it for free. You know, you have to spend X amount of materials. So players are still encouraged to grind these materials and stuff. But also the benefit is, you have the ability to change your masterwork, like we just talked about. Like changing the masterwork would be such a big deal. Like maybe you get lucky and get range, and that's exactly what you wanted. Perfect. There you go. Now you have a 4 out of 5 god roll, or 4 out of 5 god roll. You got the 2 perks you want, you got the masterwork you want. Now you got the magazine, you just don't have the barrel perk you want, or maybe you get a 5 out of 5. I don't know. But that would be one potential routes that we could go. I think Bungie could also, pardon me, maybe do some sort of currency associated with changing these like exotic ciphers. For Rahul, you can re-roll, or not re-roll, but you have a chance to decrypt exotic engrams now, which is a fantastic addition to the game at the cost of, for a specific piece of exotic, it is like a 3 ascendant shards, an exotic cipher, glimmer, legendary shards. Like it's a bunch of stuff. I think having something similar to that, like at least costing 1 ascendant shard to change the masterwork on a weapon would be a reasonable thing to do, because ascendant shards to a veteran hardcore player who plays all the time are not hard to come by, especially with grandmasters out right now. I think I got 3 from doing a grandmaster yesterday, which is a lot of ascendant shards. I know that in my character inventory I've got 10, and I think in all 3 of my postmasters I have another 10. So I'm carrying 40 ascendant shards right now, just waiting to be used on something fantastic. So I think that having an associated cost that is pretty expensive, but not like unreasonably expensive, nothing like Spoils of Conquest. Spoiler alert, go check out our video on Spoils of Conquest that we made last week. But yeah, I think that having that cost associated would be a fantastic addition. Now, Bungie could also go another route besides making some sort of cost, and maybe have some sort of task that you have to complete. Like currently with our crafted weapons, we can level them up. We can level them from 1 to level 17. At level 17, you unlock the last enhanced trait on said weapon, whatever it is you're looking at. And that's a really neat system. I think they could potentially carry over into non-craftable weapons. As you get X amount of kills on a weapon, as you get 1,000 kills, 2,000 kills, 3,000 kills, you're leveling it up. By the time you hit 10,000 kills, then you unlock level 10 on the weapon, so to speak. And once you unlock level 10, then you have the ability to swap out masterworks, and just masterworks, not perks, not not barrels, magazines, stuff like that, just the masterwork. You can say, hey, go into the inventory and you can say, hey, for this content I want range masterwork. Oh, but then for this one I want a reload speed. For this one I want handling. The ability to change the masterwork through achieving X amount of kills would be fantastic. And maybe not 10,000, because 10,000 is a lot of kills for anybody to sync on any weapon. I have a Vex that's sitting at like 30 something thousand kills. And that's been over the course of several seasons, So I think that having, 10,000 kills might be a bit much, but maybe, once you hit like 3,000 kills, yeah, then you can change the masterwork, and you can do it from the inventory. You don't have to go to the enclave and to the weapon workbench, or the relic. I'm sorry, that's what it's called, the relic, to change it. It's just the ability to change it right there in your inventory on the fly, and still have it associated with some kind of cost. That way players can't just hop in Crucible and say, oh, I want to use stability this game, and I want to use range this game, and I want to use handling, every other game. Make it so that if they're switching constantly, it's costing them a lot of materials and stuff like that. But yeah, I think those would be 2 ways they could potentially implement a re-roll of masterworks that wouldn't just break the game, and it also wouldn't ruin the grind that we have. Because like I said, grind is a big deal in Destiny. But with that being said, I want to hear your thoughts. If you were there in the time when you can re-roll masterworks, do you think it should come back? If you weren't there, I want to hear your thoughts on it as well. Do you think that they should allow players to do this? Or do you think that they should keep it the way it is, where, having the masterwork that you want is just part of the God roll experience, the 5 out of 5, so to speak, experience? But that being said, like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video if, of course, you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content. And yeah, watch the video you see on the end screen now, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you'll like it. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye for now, guys.